Hear it? The thin, rising chorus of yips, hoof thunder on dust, wings slicing the cool before sunrise. This is Africa's open-air arena, where courage is not measured by size. Ask the honey badger, a walking rebuttal to logic. Grace can defend a life. Watch a gray-crowned crane dance danger away on stilted legs. Strategy outlasts teeth. The hyena's ledger proves it, and power is earned one patient, territorial day at a time. The lion's law written in roars across 5 miles of sky. Across tawny savannas and thorny acacia flats, around shrinking waterholes and reed-bright wetlands, every breath bargains with heat, thirst, and speed, while most hunters lose more than they win. Lions succeed on only a fraction of their attempts, and even cheetahs cash in barely half their chases. But one team rewrites the math. Africa's most lethal pack, the painted wolves or African wild dogs, turn unity into a weapon, closing in with success rates that can soar toward 8 hunts in 10 when conditions are right. Tonight, we track a relay of precision, feints knifing through tall grass, a break that singles out one calf from the confusion, a long, unbroken chase, and a takedown finished fast, before the shadows of lions and hyenas arrive to test the dog's claim to their hard-earned kill. Tell us in the comments where you are watching from, and who you are betting on. Dusk loosens the heat. Grass turns to silver wires. A low wind carries the smell of dust, water, and something inevitable. From the acacia shade, Africa's most lethal pack gathers. Painted wolves, lean, long-legged, white-tipped tails flicking like signals in the half-light. They touch noses, chirp like birds, trade quick, bright looks. Roll call done. The map is set. Across the flats, impala stitch the edge of a waterhole, ears like flags. A young kudu lingers near the reed line, one stride off rhythm. Farther out, zebras bunch. A fish eagle cuts the quiet with a clean scream. On the bank, a crocodile impersonates absence. Hippos grumble warnings from the channel. This is a boundary with teeth. The pack explodes without shouting. 2 swing wide, ghosts in the grass. 3 move up the center, unspooling speed. A tail snaps. Left. The kudu bolts, hooves carving commas in the dust. Impala flash, pronk, and clear a gully in flying arcs. The wolves don't pick everything. They choose the one mistake. Relay begins. The front runners press until lungs burn, then peel off. Fresh legs flood forward. They steer the kudu toward soft sand and bad choices. Hyenas pace the horizon, laughing debts they haven't earned yet. Vultures float down a thermal, filing the future in lazy circles. The kudu finds the water and gambles. A leap, a splash, ripples fire out. For a heartbeat, the river holds it. One dog veers back. Crocodile math says no. The kudu claws up the opposite bank, stumbles, saves itself. Not today. Back on the flats, the chosen path closes. A flank team boxes the kudu toward open ground, away from thorn, away from cover. A final surge, a trip, a pin. It ends fast, because that is the rule the wolves keep for others and themselves. Silence returns as quickly as the sound began. Pups arrive with the second wave, bouncing on oversized paws. The adults step back, tongues lolling, ribs ticking. Order is simple. The young eat first. Tomorrow has to be funded. Hyenas stroll in late. There's an argument and then a truce in scraps. Nothing is wasted. The grass takes what's left. Some lived, some didn't. The herd tightens its lessons. The pack pays its miles with sore pads and small scars, and buys another sunrise for hungry mouths. This is not cruelty, it's choreography, speed, stamina, and decisions measured in heartbeats. If this hunt pulled you to the edge of your seat, tap like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which moment froze your breath and where you're watching from. Share this with a friend who can hear a wild dog's chirp in their head now. Night deepens, the river breathes, and under a bruised moon, the pack lines up again. Old math, new day, the eternal drumbeat of life moving forward. What kind of predator weighs half a ton, but moves through the forest like a whispered secret? What hunter can flip a boulder with one paw, snatch a leaping salmon mid-air, and then sit peacefully eating berries as if violence were just another item on a to-do list? Meet the brown bear, the tiger's silent sovereign, a creature so perfectly calibrated between brutal force and patient calculation that even the word predator feels incomplete. No roar announces its arrival. No pack shares the workload, just amber eyes reading the river like sheet music, claws that can rip or caress, and a body built to survive months of absolute nothingness, buried beneath snow. This isn't just survival. This is mastery, where hunger, hibernation, and the iron law of the wild converge into one massive, unstoppable truth. Adapt completely, or disappear forever. Painted by nature in shades of peat and smoke, the brown bear wears a heavy coat layered for weather with a hump of muscle over the shoulders. Its built-in winch for digging, sprinting, and hauling salmon from whitewater. A big male can top 300 kilograms in coastal runs, where fish are plenty. Inland bears run lighter, but no less formidable. Paws are dinner plates with claws like ivory chisels, not retractable, made for raking roots, flipping logs, and pinning a flailing fish against rock. The skull is a fortress with a sense of smell so sharp it reads the forest's inbox miles away. berries ripening, a carcass hidden, a rival's cologne on a sap-scarred spruce. Dense underfur traps heat, guard hairs shed rain and sleet. Before snow, the body shifts into a living pantry, fat layered under skin and around organs, high-octane insulation the bear will spend in winter. Inside, a remarkable switch flips. Hibernation. Heartbeat slows, metabolism idles, muscles and bones are maintained while the bear neither eats nor drinks for months. An energy budget balanced like a master accountant in fur. Summer is a grocery list with legs and roots. Berries stain muzzles purple, beetles crunch, meadows provide tubers. But when salmon charge upriver in a silver riot, the bear chooses a post like an angler with generations of advice. Below a boulder, at a chute, in a foam-edged pool. The current lashes at shins, the eyes track glints. Then, boom, a head flick, a paw scythe, a salmon arcs into the crook of those forearms. Sometimes the bear eats the richest parts first, skin and roe, pure fat for the winter fund. Downstream, a mother wades with cubs, teaching the curriculum. Brace diagonally to the flow, feel the fish through your paws, strike where the water breaks wrong. When a cub slips, she resets the lesson with calm repetition. Here, learning is relentless. As days shorten, dens call, caves, root-wrapped hollows, riverbanks carved into sanctuaries. Hibernation isn't fairy tale sleep, it's precise math. Pregnant females give birth in the dark to 2 or 3 bean-sized miracles that grow on milk rich as cream. Spring cracks the ice, and life spills out of the door. Turning stones for larvae, sniffing fox tracks, flinching at eagles' shadows, graduating to the river's murmur and its ambushes. Brown bears live mostly solo, running on overlapping maps negotiated with scent, tree scratches, and the occasional blunt memo written in scars. High-calorie seasons crowd the stage. Several bears might share a river, each with an invisible bubble of personal space, dominance decided by size, posture, and confidence. Big males patrol edges, claiming prime fishing lanes. Younger bears and moms with cubs work the safer margins. Conflict is ritual before its ruin. Stiff-legged walks, low huffs, gapes that show molars like polished stones. If nobody blinks, the crash is brief and brutal. Mothers are iron with a soft voice. They defend cubs against ambitious males, wolves that probe like committee hunters, and the casual thefts of foxes and ravens. Lessons are practical. Follow tight, watch my shoulders, copy the angle of my feet in current. Compared to Africa's most lethal pack, the painted wolves that win with choreography, this giant plays the solo, but every note is coordinated with weather, water, and hunger. The bear is a nutrient elevator. Salmon caught in the river become fertilizer on the bank. Half-eaten fish and rich scat feed fungi, insects, shrubs, and trees, hauling ocean nitrogen into the forest. Trails carved by heavy paws turn into wildlife highways. As omnivore and sometimes predator of deer or elk calves, it reshapes behavior at river edges, giving willows and alders room to grow. Its winter engineering, dens, and diggings adds pockets of habitat to a complex mosaic. Many populations are stable or recovering with careful management. Others face pressure from habitat fragmentation, conflict, and unsustainable hunting. Keep rivers clean, corridors open, and fish runs thriving, and the bear's calendar keeps perfect time. In a series about apex teamwork, the brown bear is the counterpoint, a symbol of quiet mastery. It embodies the spirit of the taiga, patience that looks like stillness, strength that sounds like a river, and timing that turns cold water into life. When Africa's most lethal packs tighten the noose, a small black and white shadow doesn't bolt. It growls and walks straight through the gap. Built like a low-slung tank with claws for crowbars, this brawler turns prey into a terrible plan. Meet the honey badger of sub-Saharan savannas, thorn scrub, and dry woodlands. With a bold silver mantle over jet black fur, loose armor-like skin, and excavator claws, it raids hives, shrugs off venom, and will square up to hyenas, wild dogs, even a lion, just to make a point. Painted in two bold strokes, jet black below and a pale gray cape from forehead to tail. The honey badger looks like it's wearing a warning sign. Its body is compact and muscular, with a neck like a coiled spring and shoulders built for demolition. The real headline is the skin, a dense, flexible hide nearly half a centimeter thick. That loose fit is a magic trick. If a leopard clamps down, the badger can twist inside its own jacket, pivot, and bite back where it counts. The fur is coarse, shrugging off thorns, and inconveniently for bees, a lot of stings. Foreclaws curve like chisels, perfect for ripping open burrows, tearing into logs, or prying at a turtle's weak points. The ears are tiny, less to grab, the jaw muscles are overbuilt, and the teeth are built for cracking, slicing, and not letting go. Add tough foot pads, a musky scent gland that says back up, and a frame that can absorb punishment, and you've got a pocket-sized tank. As the light drains from the grasslands, the honey badger clocks in. Mostly nocturnal, it glides through thorn and dust with a nose that can find a mouse 2 feet under hardpan. Dinner is whatever it can get. Insects, larvae, eggs, lizards, snakes, yes, even cobras, small mammals, and those stubborn, hard-shelled turtles. It digs fast, like a jackhammer with paws, unzipping rodent tunnels and flipping stones for scorpions. Find a beehive? That cape becomes a fire suit. It punches through wax and wood, slurps honey and brood, and takes 100 stings like mild insults. Stories of surviving venomous bites aren't legend. This animal has a high tolerance, often shaking off what would floor others. Night after night, it can cover dozens of kilometers, sprinting up to about 30 kilometers per hour in short, surprisingly zippy bursts. It climbs too, tree trunks, fences, anything that gets it to food. Corner it, and the performance begins. Fur up, growl like a chainsaw, teeth flashing. Packs of African wild dogs, Africa's most lethal team players, will sometimes circle and test, then decide their time is better spent elsewhere. Solitary by choice, the honey badger runs a one-animal enterprise. Territories overlap, but everyone leaves scented memos at prominent tufts and stones using that potent anal gland. Communication is low and direct, grunts, hisses, and a ripping growl that delivers the message faster than subtitles. Most partnerships are seasonal. A female uses a deep, cool burrow, a self-dug bunker, to raise one, sometimes two kits. She is relentless, teaching through example, how to dig efficiently, how to read the wind, how to turn a snake from danger into protein. Youngsters shadow her for months, learning the badger way of solving problems with tools they carry on their paws. Encounters with big predators are frequent physics lessons. Lions and leopards know the script. Many step off after the first badger counterpunch. Hyenas in numbers can force a retreat, but not before the badger turns small into big with bristled fur and pure audacity. This scrapper is also a maintenance crew. By digging for rodents and insects, it aerates soil and reshapes seed beds. Abandoned tunnels become snug apartments for reptiles, foxes, and small birds. It pressures rodent populations, raids overabundant hives, and recycles carrion when opportunity knocks. Resistance to venom and a hide that shrugs off quills and claws let it occupy a niche most mammals avoid, smoothing out food web spikes that come with boom-bust prey. Officially of least concern, honey badgers still face snares, retaliation from beekeepers, and collisions with roads. Conservancies and better coexistence practices keep the wild's toughest minimalist on the night shift. In a landscape ruled by prides and packs, the honey badger is a reminder that courage can be compact and unnegotiable. It embodies the spirit of defiance, small shadow, giant will, and a refusal to bow to anything but the sunrise. Night drapes the savanna, and a whoop rises, one voice, then many, rolling like drum beats through grass. When Africa's most lethal pack takes down its prey, it doesn't sprint, it surrounds. Spotted hyenas turn patience into pressure, carving the dark into lanes, testing, harrying, until the herd breaks and a bone-crushing bite ends the argument. Meet the spotted hyena, the matriarch-led powerhouse of sub-Saharan plains and scrub. Broad shoulders, a thick neck, a speckled coat, and jaws engineered to crack femurs. This is a social strategist with stamina to outlast, brains to coordinate, and the kind of vocal arsenal that rallies a clan from miles away for a swift, surgical finish. Painted in earth tones and freckled with spots, the hyena looks like it was assembled by a practical engineer. The front end rides high, massive shoulders, thick neck, and a broad skull that houses jaw muscles built to turn bone into confetti. Adults can reach up to 80 kilograms, with females often larger and in charge. Their conical ears swivel like radar dishes, while heavy forelimbs and slightly shorter hind limbs create that downhill profile made for power and stamina. Inside the mouth is where the legend lives. Premolars shaped for crushing, carnassials that shear, and a bite force that snaps thick bones most predators ignore. They can digest it too, bone, hooves, hide, thanks to an acid-sturdy stomach that turns leftovers into nutrients and those chalk-white droppings you see on game trails. Non-retractable claws add traction in long chases. A coarse coat shrugs off thorns. A muscular tail flags signals through grass. Scent glands beneath the tail swipe, paste onto grass stems. Scented signposts that map the night. Everything here is sculpted for endurance, collaboration, and not wasting a single calorie fate provides. Dusk is clock-in time. Under the cooling air, hyenas spread like an invisible net. One individual pressures a herd, cutting angles, herding a target toward a corridor others already own. They're not built for short, flashy sprints. This is distance math. At 40-50 km/h, they can keep the tempo, trading places like relay runners until an antelope missteps and stamina writes the ending. Yes, they scavenge when it makes sense, but more than 2/3 of their meals come from their own hunts, efficient, ruthless, and timed to the wind. Communication is a toolkit, deep whoops that carry for kilometers to summon allies, grunts that coordinate movement, and that high giggle that spikes during fights or frantic feeding. They eat fast, faces buried, ears pinned, because lions can arrive like thunder, and African wild dogs are always listening for opportunity. In the dry season, when waterholes shrink and grass crackles, hyenas range far, reading scent and starlight, switching between hunting, scavenging, and outright theft with zero ego. Results matter, reputation doesn't. A hyena clan isn't a gang, it's a complex city with rules. Clans can top 70+ individuals, anchored by female lineages in a strict, female-dominant hierarchy. Rank is everything. It decides who eats first, who moves where, who gets backup when trouble bites. Greeting ceremonies. Tails high, mutual sniffing, a tangle of legs, refresh bonds and reset tempers. The communal den sits at the heart of the territory, a fortress of tunnels where cubs, born nearly black, tumble at the entrance while mothers stand guard. Hyena moms invest big, nursing for over a year with some of the richest milk in the mammal world. Cubs learn through shadowing, mock chases, and the chorus of clan life. Conflict is constant calculus. With numbers, hyenas can bully wild dogs off a carcass. Against lions, they harass, mob, and probe. But they know when to melt into the grass. Every member has a role, and when an alarm call tears the night, the clan forms a living wall, prioritizing cubs first, meat second, pride always. Hyenas are the cleanup crew and the quality control team of the plains. By hunting persistently and stripping carcasses clean, they curb disease, recycle minerals, and pressure herbivores into healthier, warier herds. Their bone-crushing niche turns waste into fuel, a service few can perform. Least concern on paper, they still pay for a bad PR campaign, persecution, snares, shrinking habitats. Where communities benefit from wildlife and rangers keep corridors open, the clan's chorus keeps rolling over the grass. In a world that cheers beauty and speed, the spotted hyena is a reminder that resilience, teamwork, and relentless strategy win more nights than glamour ever will. It embodies the spirit of survival by spreadsheet, cold numbers, warm loyalty, and a laugh that means, "We've got this." What walks through dappled jungle light wearing a coat designed by evolution's most obsessive artist? What predator moves with such liquid silence that bamboo doesn't creak, leaves don't rustle, and prey doesn't know death arrived until jaws close like a steel trap around the spine? Meet the Bengal tiger, the subcontinent's striped emperor, a solitary assassin so perfectly calibrated for ambush that even its breathing syncs with the rhythm of the forest. No pack to rely on, no second chances. Just 500 pounds of muscle wrapped in burnt orange and midnight black. Canines long as your fingers, and eyes that read distance, wind, and fear like a sniper's scope. This isn't a hunter that chases down meals across open plains. This is a ghost that materializes from shadow, calculates in fractions of seconds, and delivers violence so swift and surgical that the jungle barely pauses before returning to its hum. In a world where most predators announce their presence, the Bengal tiger simply becomes the silence. And by the time you hear it, the lesson's already over. Sculpted by evolution for ambush, the Bengal tiger stretches close to 3 meters nose to tail, with males often 180 to 260 kilograms, and rare giants heavier still. A thick neck, deep chest, and overbuilt forelimbs give it a wrestler's clinch. The spine arches like a loaded spring. Retractable claws stay razor hidden until the last instant, while a dew claw acts like a grappling hook during the takedown. The head is a block of power. Jaw muscles braid across a broad skull, driving canines the length of your thumb into throat or spine. Whiskers red air currents. Large forward-facing eyes crank up night vision with a sea of light-hungry rods. And those stripes? Not decoration. Optical engineering. In broken shade, black bars cut the outline to ribbons, so the cat becomes a moving absence. Waterproof guard hairs and a dense undercoat shrug off monsoon and morning dew. A thick tail counterbalances during tight turns, and paws spread wide to pad silently over leaf litter, sandbanks, even the sucking mud of mangrove creeks. All presence, no sound. Dawn and dusk are prime time. The tiger patrols with a glide, nose sampling wind, like a password to the forest's Wi-Fi. Who passed? Who's feeding? Where the odds are kind. Prey ranges from chital and sambar deer to wild boar, occasionally buffalo or young gaur. In mangroves, it swims tidal channels and ghosts along mudflats after deer and pig. Strategy is patience plus geometry. It stalks downwind, uses cover like punctuation, then explodes, 60 kilometers per hour in a short, savage sprint, a 10-meter leap if needed, forelimbs locking as the weight comes crashing down. The kill is surgical, a throat clamp to suffocate, or a nape bite when size allows. Hunts don't always land. Success might hover around 1 in 5 or less, and each failure burns calories the cat cannot frivole away. So it chooses the distracted, the injured, the edge of the herd animals. After a win, it drags astonishing loads into cover, feeds first, then caches if scavengers pressure. Tigers love water. Where lions hesitate, tigers wade and swim with purpose, crossing broad rivers at a steady, unshowy crawl. Between hunts, there's route maintenance, scratch marks on trees, urine spray on roots and rocks, and low roars that travel like distant thunder through timber. Tigers are solitary rulers with overlapping maps. A male's territory can cover tens to hundreds of square kilometers, overlapping those of several females. Boundaries are drawn in scent and scratches, negotiated in roars, and, if necessary, violence. Rival males test edges, and when they collide, the blitz is brutal. Short charges, paw strikes that sound like a door slammed, jaws searching for decisive purchase. The loser yields, often scarred, sometimes fatally. Females are the heartbeat of the lineage. After about 3.5 months gestation, a tigress dens in a cave, thicket, or hollow, tending 2 to 4 cubs born blind and helpless. She becomes a shadow with a mission, rarely feeding for days, relocating the nursery if danger sniffs too close. Lessons begin early, stalking insects, reading wind, freezing at the click of a twig. As months pass, she stages tutorials with real prey, boar, deer, demonstrating the leap, the hold, the bite. Cubs stay 18 to 30 months, then disperse. Daughters may settle near, sons roam far. As an apex predator, the Bengal tiger sculpts entire landscapes. By pruning herbivore numbers and changing where and when prey feed, it lets forests regenerate and riverside grasses recover. Its kills feed a suite of scavengers, jackals, dholes where ranges overlap, vultures, civets, recycling nutrients through the system. Specialized for ambush in thick cover and water-rich terrain, it's also astonishingly plastic, hunting from tarai grass to mangroves. The species Panthera tigris is endangered. Poaching, habitat fracture, and conflict still bite. Yet where corridors are linked, prey rebounds, and protection is real, tiger numbers rise. Proof that time and space are the cat's true oxygen. Even in an episode spotlighting Africa's most lethal pack, the tiger reminds us that one mind can match a dozen when the formula is right. Patience, distance, precision. It stands as a symbol of silent sovereignty, power that needs no witness, only a living forest to write its story. In muddy shallows, where crocodiles tread carefully and lions think twice, one massive tank of muscle and rage owns the water. And it's not a predator at all, it's a hippo, and its body count makes Africa's carnivores look like beginners. Meet the hippopotamus of Africa's rivers, lakes, and swamps, from the Nile's lazy bends to Zambia's floodplains and Botswana's delta channels. Deceptively clumsy on land, lethally efficient in water, this territorial colossus kills more humans annually than lions, leopards, and crocodiles combined. Not for food, but for one simple, non-negotiable reason. You're in my space. Picture a living boulder draped in gray-brown leather, slick with oily pink secretion that glows like melted strawberries under the African sun. That blood sweat isn't blood at all. It's a natural sunscreen and antibiotic cocktail, keeping skin from cracking and infections at bay in bacteria-rich water. Barrel-shaped and broad as a small car, An adult bull can tip the scales at 1,500 to 4,000 kilograms. Females slightly lighter, but no less formidable. The head is a biological battering ram, wide, flat-topped, armed with ivory tusks that curve like scimitars. Lower canines growing up to 50 centimeters long, self-sharpening with every yawn and bite. Those jaws? They hinge open to 150 degrees, wide enough to fit a fully grown human inside, powered by muscles that generate a bite force around 1,800 psi, enough to snap a canoe in half or crush a watermelon like a grape. Eyes, ears, and nostrils sit high on the skull, periscope style, so a hippo can breathe, see, and hear. While 95% submerged, a design perfected for amphibious dominance. Legs are stubby, almost comically short, but beneath that bulk lies surprising speed. Hippos can hit 30 kilometers per hour on land in short bursts, faster than most humans can sprint. Skin is nearly hairless, 2 inches thick in places, tough enough to deflect glancing bites but vulnerable to dehydration and sunburn, hence the daytime retreat into water. Hippos are champions of the double life. By day, they laze in pods of 10 to 30, sometimes over 100 in prime habitat, crammed shoulder to shoulder in rivers and pools, conserving energy and staying cool. The scene looks peaceful, pink ears twitching, nostrils puffing steam, occasional grunts rumbling like underwater thunder. But beneath the surface, it's a minefield of social tension. Bulls patrol invisible boundaries, cows guard calves, juveniles test limits. Dominance is maintained through threat displays. Jaws yawning in slow motion intimidation, teeth flashing like ivory daggers, followed by explosive lunges if the message isn't received. Serious fights are brutal. Tusks slash, skin tears, water turns red. Scars crisscross every bull's hide like a battle map. At dusk, the real work begins. Hippos haul out and follow well-worn paths, hippo highways carved into clay and grass over generations, trekking up to 10 kilometers inland to feeding grounds. They're pure herbivores, grazing machines that mow through 40 kilograms of grass per night, cropping it short with muscular lips and grinding it down with molars like millstones. They don't chew cud. Digestion happens in a multi-chambered stomach, where fermentation breaks down cellulose over days. By dawn, they're back in the water, having left behind scattered dung piles that mark territory and fertilize the land, a nutrient bomb that feeds fish, insects, and the entire aquatic food web downstream. Hippo society is a matriarchy wrapped in male aggression. Herds center around females and their young, led by experienced cows who choose the safest pools and navigate seasonal floods. Calves are born in shallow water or on land, 25 to 50 kilograms of wrinkled vulnerability, able to walk within minutes but dependent on milk for months. Mothers are fiercely protective, positioning themselves between threats and offspring, ready to charge anything, croc, lion, human, that crosses the line. Nursing happens underwater, calves holding their breath while they suckle, a skill learned fast or not at all. Bulls are the wild cards. Dominant males control stretches of river, tolerating subordinates as long as they show submission. Head low, no eye contact, quick retreats. During mating season, testosterone spikes and tempers shorten. Bulls engage in dung-showering displays, spinning their tails like propellers to spray feces in all directions. A grotesque but effective scent-marking broadcast. Serious challengers get the full treatment: mouth-gaping duels, tusk clashes, underwater wrestling matches that churn mud and send shockwaves across the surface. Winners secure mating rights and prime territory. Losers retreat with fresh wounds and diminished status. Despite the violence, hippos aren't mindless brutes. They communicate through a complex vocabulary of grunts, honks, wheeze honks, and subsonic rumbles that travel through water and bone, coordinating movements and reinforcing bonds across the pod. Hippos are living nutrient pumps. By grazing on land and defecating in water, they shuttle tons of organic material from terrestrial to aquatic ecosystems, fueling algae blooms, feeding fish populations, and supporting entire food chains from tilapia to catfish to crocodiles. Their wallows create microhabitats, shallow pools that persist through dry seasons, refuges for frogs, turtles, and invertebrates. Hippo paths act as erosion channels and drainage networks, shaping landscapes over centuries. But their role as apex defenders is what earns them a spot in any predator discussion. While they don't hunt, hippos kill with ruthless efficiency when threatened, charging with zero hesitation, using mass, speed, and weaponized jaws to eliminate threats. Crocodiles avoid hippopods, lions steer clear of bulls, humans who wander too close, fishermen, villagers, tourists, pay with their lives more often than any other large mammal causes. It's not malice, it's territory, maternal instinct, and a zero-tolerance policy for trespass. Evolutionarily, hippos are more closely related to whales than to pigs, a fact written in their bones and genes. A lineage that split 55 million years ago and returned to water in a different form. Modern threats are mounting: habitat loss, river damming, poaching for ivory tusks, and human-wildlife conflict as populations expand into hippo corridors. Climate change alters water levels, forcing pods into shrinking pools where disease and aggression spike. The hippo is Africa's armored diplomat, peaceful until provoked, then unstoppable. It reminds us that lethality isn't always about fangs and claws. Sometimes it's about mass, territory, and the absolute certainty that this river is mine. In a continent that worships predators, the hippo stands as proof that the most dangerous animal is often the one you underestimate. What herbivore looks at a pride of lions and decides the conversation isn't over? What 2,000-pound wall of muscle and temper holds grudges, remembers faces, and has been known to circle back hours later to settle unfinished business? Meet the Cape buffalo, Africa's black tank with a permanent scowl, an ox so heavily armed and lethally coordinated that even apex predators pause to recalculate the cost. No fancy stripes, no elegant leaps. Just a boss-like helmet of fused bone, curved horns sharp enough to gut a Land Rover, and a herd mentality that flips from grazing to full cavalry charge in the span of a heartbeat. This isn't prey that runs and hopes. This is prey that stands, stares, and asks one simple question with blood-red eyes. You sure you want to try this today? In the killing fields of the savannah, where speed and stealth usually win, the Cape buffalo rewrote the rules with one brutal truth. Sometimes, the best defense is a ton of pure, unforgiving offense. Sculpted like a bulldozer in hide and horn, a big bull can tip the scales near a ton and stand over 5 feet at the shoulder. The coat runs charcoal to sooty brown, a matte finish that drinks sunlight but hides scars. The headline is the hardware. Horns sweep sideways and up, meeting in the middle as a thick helmet, the boss, that armors the skull and turns headbutts into shockwaves. A deep chest, heavy neck, and low-slung head set the center of gravity forward, perfect for driving power into a charge that can hit 40 kilometers per hour in a heartbeat. Cloven hooves splay for grip in mud and on baked clay alike. A whip of a tail signals mood the way a referee uses flags. Eyes are dark, steady, and unamused. Ears flick constantly, filtering wind-borne gossip. The skin is thick, the nerves are quick, and the whole chassis is built for endurance. Long, dusty commutes to water, long days of grinding grass down to green confetti, and, when needed, sudden violence that rearranges a predator's priorities. By day, the herd grazes in a slow tide, heads down, jaws working, calves tucked where the walls are thickest. Vigilance is communal. Dozens of eyes and ears stack into one surveillance system that notices the wrong rustle and the extra shadow. When danger tests the edge, geometry answers. A loose line becomes a ring, horns out, bosses forward, a living fortress with a temper. Lions know the rehearsal. Many hunts end in dust and second thoughts. And Africa's most lethal pack, painted wolves, reads the math too. They might probe a straggler or a calf, but against a tight herd, they pivot to antelope, because the buffalo's return on risk is terrible for even elite teams. Dry season turns up the volume. Water pinches into muddy bowls, tempers shorten, and night marches stretch between pastures. At dusk, the air cools, bellies fill, and an old bull may lift his head and bellow, a deep drum roll that says, "We hold here." Vultures circle with patience. Hyenas laugh at the margins. The herd listens, shifts, and waits out the dark like an army bivouacked on its shield. Buffalo society is strength braided with rules. Core herds mix adult cows, their calves, and attendant bulls. Older males often peel off into bachelor groups, the famous Daga boys, who haunt waterholes and thickets with unpredictable attitude. Inside the main herd, calves stay central, mothers flank them, and bulls patrol the rim like moving ramparts. Dominance among males is decided in head-on physics. Under a red sky, two titans step from the crowd, knees bent, chins tucked, and slam bosses with a crack that rolls the plain. They shove, feint, reset, and collide again until one yields, newly tattooed with dust and dents. Females carry the sacred continuity. After an 11-month gestation, a 30 to 40 kilogram calf drops, is licked into circulation, and stands on wobbling stilts within minutes. There's no nursery pass. The herd is moving, and so is the lesson. Keep up, stay central, read the adults. Buffalo are lawn crews with hooves. Their grazing trims dominant grasses, opening space for tender regrowth that feeds antelope behind them. Their trails become highways for everything from warthogs to wild dogs. Dung seeds the landscape and fuels insects, fish, and birds along floodplains. They're also keystones in the predator economy. Calves and compromised adults feed lions and hyenas, yet their defense shapes when, where, and how predators hunt. Conservation status is generally least concern, but local declines track shrinking habitat, conflict with cattle, and disease. Corridors, water stewardship, and community conservancies keep the wall intact. In a continent famous for solo heroes and swift packs, the African buffalo reminds us that power can be plural. It embodies the spirit of unity. Silent steps, locked horns, and a promise that together is the strongest armor nature ever forged. What moves across the scorched outback like a biological pogo stick with a PhD in physics? What herbivore can cover 25 feet in a single bound, outpace a racehorse, and then casually box a rival with the precision of a heavyweight champion? Meet the red kangaroo, Australia's desert athlete, a marsupial so perfectly engineered for heat and distance that evolution itself seems to have sketched it on a dare. No water for days? No problem. Predators closing in? Watch this. With legs built like industrial springs, a tail thick as a tree trunk for balance, and a resting heart rate that drops to near hibernation levels, this rust-colored giant doesn't just survive the red center, it owns it. No claws for killing, no venom for defense, just raw biomechanics, relentless efficiency, and the kind of endurance that turns a sun-baked wasteland into a personal racetrack where the finish line is always tomorrow. Sculpted by evolution for spring-loaded travel, a big male stands over 2 meters tall and can weigh up to 90 kilograms. Chest broad, forearms corded, thighs like coiled steel. The palate is pure outback, rusty reds and sandy browns that blend with spinifex and dust. Their hind legs are biological pistons. Long tendons store energy like bowstrings, releasing it in elastic bursts that fling them 9 meters in a single bound at speeds up to 70 kilometers per hour. The tail is the secret weapon, thick, muscular, and strong enough to act as a fifth limb. It balances midair, steadies landings, and serves as a jack stand during fights. Up front, the forelimbs carry sharp claws for grappling, grooming, and digging shallow, cool pits in hot soil. A leathery nose and keen ears read the wind for predators and rain. Slit pupils squeeze glare from the desert sun. Inside, the engineering continues. A chambered stomach works through fibrous grasses with water-saving efficiency, and sweat-minimizing skin plus big ear surfaces help dump heat when the mercury climbs. Every line says, go far, spend little, survive long. Daytime heat turns the plain into a kiln, so red kangaroos shift to crepuscular and nocturnal hours. At dawn and dusk, mobs, loose, fluid groups flow across grasslands, heads down in a steady graze. They browse grasses and forbs, nibbling green where they can find it, then bed down in shade, licking forearms to cool blood and scraping shallow hollows to rest. When the dingo, their native dog, ghosts the horizon, the tempo changes. The mob explodes into bouncing geometry, each leap a physics lesson. Dingoes pick the young or the lagging, but a dominant male can rewrite the ending. Tail planted, chest up, he launches a 2-footed kick that lands like a pile driver. It's the same tripod stance you'll see in boxing bouts, rearing, pawing, then the decisive hind leg strike. In deep drought, water holes shrink and options fade, But kangaroos are masters of thrift. They can go weeks without a drink, drawing moisture from dry grass and leaves and timing movement to the cool. And if Africa's most lethal pack, the painted wolves, ever teleported in, they'd recognize the pattern. Test the weak, respect the strong. Beware the counterpunch you never saw coming. Red kangaroos live in fission-fusion society. Individuals join, split, and rejoin mobs as food and water dictate. Within that drift, there's order. Big males, boomers, shadow the groups, sparring for status and breeding access. Boxing duels are rituals with consequences, circling, paw jabs, collar ties, then tail-supported kicks that can end the argument instantly. Most contests stop short of serious injury. The point is to measure, not maim. Females, does, are the continuity engine. There's no strict season. Reproduction flexes with rain. After a short gestation, a jelly bean-sized joey about 2 centimeters is born blind and hairless, climbs by touch into the pouch, latches, and vanishes into warm, milk-lit darkness for months. Here's the marvel. A mother can run multiple milk formulas at once and pause a new embryo, embryonic diapause, until conditions improve. As the pouch youngster grows, it peeks out, then makes clumsy test hops, retreating to base when danger or fatigue looms. Lessons are patient and practical. Follow, feed, freeze, and leap when the lead does. These athletes are also landscapers. Their grazing shapes plant communities, keeping coarse grasses in check and promoting fresh growth that benefits invertebrates and other herbivores. Trails beaten by thousands of hops become wildlife highways. Their diggings vent hard-baked soils. Their presence fuels a web. Dingoes, wedge-tailed eagles, and large pythons take the young, while carcasses feed insects and scavenging birds. Adaptations to aridity, water frugality, heat management, and night movement. Let them ride out punishing droughts that empty the plain of less flexible species. Listed as least concern, overall, they still collide with modern pressures, vehicle strikes, fencing, habitat changes, and controversial culls. Where rangelands are managed thoughtfully and crossings are safe, the mob keeps moving and the grass keeps recovering behind them. In an episode obsessed with packs and pursuit, the red kangaroo is a solo thesis on efficiency and nerve. It embodies the spirit of resilience, proof that in the harshest arenas, timing, thrift, and a well-timed kick can outrun almost anything. At the edge of a hunting ground where lethal packs turn dust into danger, a different rhythm begins. Two silhouettes step into the shallows and trade fear for choreography. Heads bowed, wings fanned, a gold-spiked crown catching sunrise like fire. No chase, no clash, just a dance so sure of itself that predators pause and the marsh seems to breathe again. In a world built on pursuit, this bird survives by spectacle, vigilance, and timing. Meet the crowned crane, an African wetland specialist found from papyrus swamps to seasonally flooded savannas. Recognizable by its shimmering golden crown of stiff plumes, white cheek patches, and a crimson throat pouch that pulses when it calls, it stands tall on ink-black legs and moves like a ballerina on stilts. Unlike other cranes, it can perch in trees thanks to a true hind toe, sleeping above the teeth and slipping back to the reeds at first light. Adorned like royalty, the crowned crane wears a mantle of pearly gray, then flips the palette at the wings, inky primaries edged with white and warm chestnut. Above, a halo of golden spikes radiates from a velvet black cap, equal parts runway and warning. I see you. Long slate legs lifted above flooded grass, while a slim, daggered bill picks precision meals from water and turf. Unlike other cranes, this species keeps a fully developed hind toe, the hallux, sculpted by evolution into a perching hook, so it can roost high in trees, safe from prowling cats and opportunistic jackals. Wide wings catch thermals and carry them miles with easy, gliding strokes. Stiff flight feathers clap audibly when display demands drama. A resonant call, boosted by an inflatable throat sac, travels across marsh and meadow like a bronze bell. Beauty isn't a luxury here, it's a toolkit. The crown advertises health, the height reads horizons, and that tree-perching trick turns darkness from danger into vantage point. Dawn paints the grass in silver. The pair steps out, legs sewing through shallow water, eyes flicking for grasshoppers, beetles, seeds, small frogs, tiny prey in a giant theater. They probe soft mud, flip clumps, and snap with ballerina timing, then lift their heads to scan the skyline. Overhead, a martial eagle etches circles. Below, Africa's most lethal pack, the wild dogs, threads the reed edges on a morning patrol. The cranes answer with poise and volume. One deep, honking duet can ripple the marsh, warning everything with ears. Courtship turns the plain into a stage. Bows, leaps, slow spins, wings unfurled like painted fans. It's not decoration, it's a contract. Their dance calibrates timing, fitness, and trust, and it renews at every good rain. As heat climbs, they retreat to shade, preen each other's nape, and drink at quiet pools. Dusk lifts them skyward in loose flocks, crowns glowing like embers as they sail to high roosts, the night shift's safest balcony. Crowned cranes marry the dance. Most pairs bond for life, holding a small territory stitched to water, grass, and safe nesting cover. They build platforms of reeds in wetlands or soggy meadow, both partners ferrying stems. Domestic choreography with purpose. Two to three downy chicks hatch ready to walk, their speckled coats camouflaging them against a predator's impatient gaze. Parenting is 24/7 theater and security. Soft contact calls to keep the family tight, wing shading to shelter chicks from sun and rain, and ferocity when danger steps in. A normally elegant mother will bill strike, wing thrash, and faint at intruders far larger than herself. The male mirrors her, flanking with open wings to look impossibly big. Neighbor pairs maintain boundaries with dance duels and duets, not brawls. Most conflicts end with posture, not bruises. Outside breeding, small groups may forage together, a polite company keeping eyes up while feet stir the pantry below. These dancers keep wetlands humming. By plucking insects, snails, and small vertebrates, they trim pest populations. By grazing seeds and drooping heads of grass, they disperse future meadows. Their sentinel calls can tip entire floodplains from calm to caution, shaping when antelope drink and how predators approach. Uniquely arboreal among cranes, their tree roosts place nutrient-rich droppings where seeds and saplings can use them. Yet the music is threatened. The gray-crowned crane is endangered. Wetlands drained for farms, illegal capture, and a changing climate shrink their stages. Community-led wetland protection and smart farming buffers are the difference between silence and encore. In a continent famous for chases, the crowned crane proves that grace can be a survival strategy. It's a symbol of loyalty and hope, the bird on Uganda's flag, and a reminder that even under predator skies, beauty still takes the lead. What moves like silk but thinks like a chess player 3 moves ahead? What turns a simple drink into a high-stakes gamble where every sip could be your last? Meet the impala, the savannah's ballet dancer with a PhD in paranoia, an antelope so finely tuned to danger that even its shadow seems to listen. Slender, swift, and crowned with horns that curve like ancient scimitars, this herbivore doesn't just survive Africa's killing fields, it performs there. Every leap is a calculated risk. Every grazing moment a negotiation with death. No armor, no venom, just reflexes sharper than a cheetah's focus and a body built to turn panic into poetry. In a world where predators read the menu daily, the impala rewrites the script with one simple rule. If you can't fight back, make them chase perfection. Impalas are elegance engineered. Standing around 90 centimeters at the shoulder, they're all slim lines, long cannon bones, and spring-loaded tendons. The coat glows reddish along the flanks and back, fading to pale cream on the belly, with bold black bars on the rump and thighs. Visual signposts that help the herd stay threaded together when panic tears the air. A male's lyre-shaped horns, pushing close to a meter, are ridged like old wood and strong enough to parry, lock, and lever in duels that sound like split firewood. Ears swivel constantly, wide eyes drink motion from the horizon, and slit-style nostrils sift wind for predator math. Under the hood, everything whispers efficiency. Elastic tendons store energy for those famous pronks and bounds. Cloven hooves bite into dust and wet clay. A lightweight frame rockets forward without wasting fuel. An impala can leap more than 9 meters in one bound and rise 3 meters in a single gravity-mocking hop. Athletics sculpted by generations of near misses and second chances. Dawn pulls them from the woodland edge into the gold of the grass. Heads drop, lips clip tender shoots and forbs, and every few seconds a face lifts to check the world's honesty. The escape plan is rehearsed daily. When danger stirs, cheetah shadow, leopard ripple, or Africa's most lethal pack, the painted wolves fanning out like a moving net, impalas switch to chaos with purpose. They jink, they zigzag, they pronk high with stiff leg leaps that scream, "I see you, and I've got fuel to spare." Those jumps confuse pursuit and advertise fitness, sometimes persuading a predator to pick an easier target. Against wild dogs, endurance specialists that hunt with relay precision, impalas try to break the geometry, sprint to thickets, cross stony patches that punish pads, leap gullies where momentum stutters. At water, caution doubles. Rivers are mirrors that lie. Beneath the glare, a crocodile might be counting blinks. So the herd drinks in shifts, edges forward, sips, snaps upright, and rotates like clockwork. One mistake, and the surface explodes into teeth and foam. Then calm rebuilds, the file reforms, and the day resets. Order wears a gentle face here. Female herds move with their young in composed companies, while territorial males hold the edges like doormen, escorting, posturing, scent marking with ankle glands and forehead rubs. When the rut arrives on a hot wind, the savanna turns into an arena. Rival rams roar like broken horns, march stiff-legged and crash together, bosses clacking, horns gouging dust and pride. Most bouts end before blood. The point is rank, not ruin. Victors gather harems and patrol furiously. Losers drift to bachelor groups to bulk up and try again. Calving, timed to good rains, floods the plain with wobbling legs and new eyes. Mothers hide newborns for a few days, then fold them into the living shield of the herd, where lessons are constant. Freeze when I freeze, follow the black flag of my tail, run before the wind lies. Impalas are the heartbeat of the mid-trophic savanna, prime prey for cheetahs, leopards, lions, hyenas, and especially painted wolves, whose success rate climbs when they dial their choreography to impala rhythm. By browsing shrubs and grazing grasses, impalas keep vegetation layered, inviting fresh growth that feeds others in their wake. Seeds hitchhike in pellets and hooves, sprouting along daily commute routes. Their alarm snorts ripple across neighborhoods, warning zebras, warthogs, and birds to recalibrate. Listed as least concern across much of their range, they still feel the squeeze where fencing clips. Migrations, waterholes shrink, and snares write ugly endings. Keep corridors open and water honest, and the herd's music continues. Grace under pressure. Impalas turn fear into choreography and survival into style. They're a symbol of the savanna's rhythm, fragile to look at, formidable in numbers, and forever teaching even the best packs that perfection requires a worthy opponent. Ever wonder what hunts in a realm where silence itself becomes the weapon? Where muscle and shadow merge into something so precise that prey never hears death coming until teeth find throat. Meet the leopard, Africa's ghost with rosettes, a solitary architect of ambush who rewrites the rulebook on power. No roaring entrance, no backup crew. Just cold calculation wrapped in fur, amber eyes that measure distance in heartbeats, and a bite that ends arguments before they start. She doesn't announce her presence, she erases it. Built for the in-between, between light and leaf, sound and hush, the leopard is compact power in velvet. A female like Suri runs 35 to 60 kilograms, but the chassis is all torque, overbuilt forelimbs, a thick neck, and a spine that coils like a spring for those 10-meter bursts that turn chance into certainty. Retractable claws stay scalpel sharp for the last meter of a hunt, and for the next part, climbing. A long tail writes balance into every branch-top pivot, while wide, soft-padded paws erase footfalls on gravel, bark, or mud. The skull is a press, canines drive deep, and a dew claw acts like a hook when she grapples a struggling antelope. Vision leans nocturnal, with a tapetum lucidum to catch starlight. Whiskers map space, reading breeze and branch like braille. The coat isn't just gorgeous, it's a thermal compromise and a camouflage algorithm, breaking edges in sun-splintered shade. Even pregnancy doesn't blunt the design, it just refocuses the mission. Hunt clean, spend little, vanish faster. Suri's day is a schedule of restraint. Before sunrise, she moves the creek line, slipping under reeds where drifted leaves spin slow circles. A careless antelope bends to drink. The air tightens. One silent rush, a throat clamp, and the struggle is already past tense. She feeds fast or drags, ideally up, looping a carcass into an acacia fork where gravity and thorns become allies against thieves. But the wild loves an asterisk, a faint misstep, a whisper of hooves on bark, and a ripple of scent becomes an invitation. Painted wolves, Africa's most lethal pack, arrive as one organism, all choreography and intent. They don't roar, they rearrange the scene. Suri reads the math, surges trunkward, and flows up the tree in a single, muscle-bright sentence. From her green balcony, she watches the pack deconstruct her work with surgical speed. No tantrum, no wasted risk, just a long look that files the lesson. Back at the den, tucked in dense shrubs, life narrows to milk and vigilance. When a troop of monkeys discovers the hideout and sets the forest ringing, she relocates the nursery in relays, cub by cub, vanishing between alarms. Dusk to dawn, she hunts edges, marks routes, and resists the urge to spend more energy than tomorrow can afford. Leopards run a solo economy. Territories overlap in a layered map of scent, urine sprays, scrape marks, and the rasping saw call that sounds like a handsaw through timber. Males patrol larger ranges, intersecting the smaller, resource-rich cores of females. Meetings are brief and to the point outside of mating windows. After roughly 3 months gestation, a female dens in cover, termite mounds, root caves, or thick shrubs, and delivers 2 to 3 cubs, damp, blind, and utterly dependent. Motherhood is logistics under pressure. She moves den sites every few days to dodge the nose of hyenas, the curiosity of baboons, and the opportunism of lions and wild dogs. Lessons start at a wobble, freeze at unfamiliar sounds, read wind like scripture, follow the curve of my tail. Play is practice, pounces on beetles, stalks at dusk, until she graduates them to small kills, then chaperoned mistakes with real prey. Survival here is a curriculum of caution and precision. As an apex ambusher and consummate generalist, the leopard trims antelope, warthog, and primate numbers, sculpting where and when herbivores feed. Tree caching spreads nutrients into arboreal larders. What she doesn't eat rains down to hyenas, jackals, vultures, and ants. Her rivalry with packs and prides, painted wolves, lions, pushes her up trees and into off hours, partitioning the landscape by time and height. Anywhere with cover and prey, she fits. Savanna, forest, mountains, mangroves, proof of an adaptation set tuned to survive pressure. Threats are the modern ones: snares, habitat squeeze, conflict. Give her corridors and quiet, and the ghost keeps hunting. Suri reminds us that power isn't always loud. She embodies patient ferocity and a mother's unshowy courage. Proof that even beneath the drumbeat of the pack, a single, silent heart can keep a lineage alive. Across Africa's hunting grounds, where the most lethal packs write endings in dust and teeth, butterflies fight a different war. No chase, no claws, just chemistry and costume. Poison painted on wings, disguises that borrow danger, and clouded swarms that turn into living static, scrambling a predator's aim. In a documentary about killers, these survivors win by making the bite never happen. These are African butterflies, from rainforest shade to sunlit savanna edges. Distinguished by bold warning colors and masterful mimicry, some even hire ant bodyguards with sweet bribes while their caterpillars grow. Survival by elegance, deception, and quiet alliances. Up close, a butterfly is a miracle of engineering in miniature. The African monarch wears warning colors, tiger orange panels framed in black with white spots, advertising toxins borrowed from milkweed it ate as a caterpillar. The painted lady plays a subtler game. Tawny patches, inked chevrons, and eye-like spots that make a pecking bird choose the wrong end. Wings are sheets of microscopic scales, tiny shingles that paint iridescence, waterproof the surface, and slip air cleanly at takeoff. A flexible thorax packs flight muscles that buzz like a tiny engine once warmed by the sun. Antennae, tipped with clubs, red scent trails, and the angle of light, while compound eyes stitch motion into a panoramic early warning system. The proboscis, a curled straw, unfurls to sip nectar deep inside a flower's throat, precision fueling for high-efficiency flight. Even the jitter in a butterfly's path is strategy. That erratic, zigzag flight makes a dragonfly or lizard miscalculate the intercept. Delicate? Not quite. This is armor by illusion, speed without noise, and chemistry worn proudly as a flag. Morning is maintenance. A butterfly perches broadside to the sun, absorbing heat until flight muscles wake. Then the commute begins, flower to flower, landing like a whisper, drawing fuel with that coiled siphon. Males patrol sunlit lanes or perch on lookout leaves, launching like tiny fighters to escort rivals away. After rains, multicolored puddling parties form at damp soil and dung. Mostly males, they mine salts and amino acids to boost stamina and load future offspring with gifts. Predators are everywhere, mantises camouflaged as leaves, crab spiders hiding in blossoms, birds watching from above. The counterplay is sensory judo, eye spots that startle, sudden wing flashes that turn into vanishing acts, and in the monarch's case, a taste that teaches a bird to never try a second bite. On the big stage, migration rewrites the scale. Painted ladies rise on tailwinds and climb over the Sahara in multi-generational relays, surfing seasonal blooms between the Sahel and the Mediterranean. In forest clearings, When Africa's most lethal pack, the wild dogs, fans through the grass, their rush becomes weather. Butterflies lift in confetti gusts, hang just above the chaos, then settle back to business as the dust falls. Butterflies are mostly solitary artisans with occasional clubs. Courtship is a mix of aerial dance and perfume. Males pivot, glide, and broadcast pheromones from scent patches, while females judge the routine and the bouquet. Once paired, the real strategy begins. Females search for exact host plants because caterpillars are picky chefs, milkweeds for African monarchs, nettles or thistles for painted ladies, citrus or forest laurels for swallowtails. Eggs are placed with care on leaf undersides. There's no nursery staff, just perfect instinct. The hatchling is a leaf cutter on 6 legs, camouflaged or spiky, sometimes studded with toxins. After a feeding sprint, it anchors and transforms. Contrary to the old myth of cocoons, butterflies harden into a naked chrysalis. Inside, the caterpillar dissolves and reorganizes, imaginal discs blossoming into wings, eyes, and that elegant straw. A few weeks later, the case parts, and a new blueprint unfolds, pumps life into its paper fans, and lifts off. Butterflies are pollination's quiet freelancers, stitching pollen across fields and forest edges while chasing nectar contracts. They signal ecosystem health. When they vanish, something beneath the flowers is failing. Toxic species like the African monarch anchor mimicry networks. Harmless lookalikes borrow their warning wardrobe, and predators lose the appetite for that color code. As prey, butterflies feed spiders, lizards, birds, and even ants, passing flower energy up the chain. Threats are modern and sharp. Pesticide drift, wetland drainage, overgrazed edges, and climate swings that scramble bloom calendars. Corridors of native plants, fewer chemicals, and protected wetlands keep this delicate machinery running. In the roar of the hunt and the whisper of wings, the butterfly is a symbol of possibility. Proof that transformation is a survival strategy, not a metaphor. It embodies the spirit of hope, fragile to the eye, unbreakable in design, and always ready to begin again. What kind of creature walks through hell with the composure of royalty? Where others flee from fire and drought, this desert warrior simply lowers its head, adjusts its stance, and waits for the sun to blink first. Meet the oryx, the antelope with saber-like horns and a coat painted by the desert itself, an endurance athlete who turned one of Earth's most unforgiving wastelands into home. No shade, no mercy. just pale sand, shimmering heat, and a pair of horns sharp enough to make even Africa's apex predators reconsider their lunch plans. This isn't survival by luck, it's survival by design, where every heartbeat is calibrated for scarcity and every step is a quiet declaration. The desert doesn't break me. I was built for this. Painted by nature to disappear, the oryx wears a pale, sandy coat that mirrors the dunes and reflects brutal sun. Dark facial stripes and side markings run like ancient tattoos, signature camouflage that breaks glare and helps manage heat while erasing the animal's outline at distance. Then there are the weapons. Long, straight horns, often longer than a meter, carried by both sexes. Thick at the base, needle-fine at the tip, they're true spears, capable of wounding even lions, and they give wild dogs a reason to rethink the angle of approach. A deep chest anchors powerful shoulders. Long, springy legs end in broad, splayed hooves that grip powder-soft sand. Inside, desert engineering gets clever. A specialized nasal air conditioner cools blood headed to the brain, allowing the oryx to let body temperature rise safely and save precious water. Kidneys concentrate urine, droppings are dry as dust. Every line, every system says, spend less, survive more, look amazing doing it. The desert sets the schedule. Dawn and dusk are mealtimes, grazing sparse grasses, browsing tough shrubs, nosing out fallen pods and digging for roots and bulbs. In a good year, they'll raid wild cucumbers and sama melons, sipping water by eating it. Midday is stillness. Backs to the breeze on dune crests, hooves tucked into shade, ears barely moving while the sun swings its hammer. But stillness is not softness. When Africa's most lethal pack, the painted wolves, fans into view, oryx aren't panic on legs, they're geometry with points. The herd wheels, adults face outward, horns come forward like drawn sabers. Dogs probe. Hairy, try to split a calf. Oryx answer with short, explosive sprints and tight pivots, backing into thorn or open sand where all approaches are visible. A well-timed thrust can turn a charge into a lesson written in scar tissue. Against lions and hyenas, defense is the same language. Keep the distance wide, the angles bad, the points honest. Nights in the dry season stretch long as they track rumor-thin pastures, traveling by star and memory along routes their ancestors scored into this country of wind. Oryx society is fluid, tuned to rain. Mixed herds of a dozen to several dozen drift between pans and grass tongues, led by experienced females who know where last year's seed became this year's green. Territorial bulls hold the best addresses, waterless valleys that bloom after storms, roots between shade and graze, patrolling with head-low strides and horn displays that say, don't. Dominance is settled by ritual before ruin. Parallel walking, horn lowering, precise fencing bouts where points clash and sand spits. Bachelor groups roam the margins, bulking up for their turn. After an 8.5-month gestation, a single calf arrives the color of safety. Fawn soft, scent light. For the first weeks, it hides, rising to nurse and collapsing back into invisibility while the herd forages nearby. Mothers are calm, then volcanic. One threat too close, and she's a set of moving spears with a heartbeat. Calves learn the choreography early. Freeze, shadow mother, face danger with the points, run only when the gap is real. As the desert's gardeners, oryx prune hardy grasses and shrubs, nudging plant communities toward fresh growth that feeds hares, bustards, and springbok in their wake. Seeds hitch rides in hooves and pellets, sprouting along ancient paths. Shallow diggings expose moisture and tubers that smaller animals exploit. They're also the high-stakes prey that keep top predators honest, powerful enough to injure a lion, swift enough to stretch a wild dog's math. Listed as least concern across much of their core range, oryx still face snares, fencing that cuts drought detours, and water extraction that strangles ephemeral grazing. Give them corridors and quiet, and the desert's spear-bearers write their own permission slips. In a world obsessed with the chase, the oryx is proof that poise can be a weapon. It's a symbol of endurance under a merciless sky, beauty wearing armor, calm with teeth in it, and a reminder that even the finest packs think twice when the sand rises and two silent blades point their way. What predator commands the savanna not with speed, but with strategy written in muscle and patience? What hunter can sleep 20 hours, then wake to orchestrate a takedown so coordinated it looks choreographed? Lionesses flanking, males blocking, every angle covered, every escape route sealed. Meet the African lion, the continent's apex coordinator, a golden-maned general leading Africa's most lethal pack in a ballet of suffocation and teamwork. No solo sprints, no lucky strikes. Just calculated aggression, synchronized pressure, and the kind of collective intelligence that turns a Cape buffalo into a shared feast. When the pride moves, the savanna rewrites its survival manual, because here, it's not about who runs fastest, it's about who hunts smartest, strikes hardest, and never, ever hunts alone. This is the African lion, prowling the grasslands, open woodlands, and thorn bush mosaics, from the Serengeti to the sun-scorched Kalahari. Distinguished by the male's flowing mane, gold, black, or rust depending on age and testosterone, and the lioness's sleek, muscular frame built for the kill, this apex predator redefines pack hunting as an art form where roles are rigid, hierarchy is matriarchal, and every ambush is a calculated gamble with hunger on one side and 1,000 pounds of prey on the other. Painted by nature in tawny gold, the lion is sculpted like a sprinter who also lifts heavy. Males can top 200 kilograms, with shoulders that rise like small hills and a broad chest built to drive power through short, explosive sprints. The mane, dark, thick, and unruly, is a billboard and a shield, making a male look larger while patting the neck during clashes. Lionesses wear speed instead of ornament, sleeker and lighter for the business end of a chase. Eyes brim with night-friendly rods, turning starlight into usable detail. The nose is a map of sense. Whiskers are motion sensors that read the grass like braille. Paws spread for traction and silence. Claws stay hidden until the final hooking moment, and canines slide like ivory daggers past windpipe and spine. A black tufted tail functions as a flag in tall grass. One flick can cue the pride. A specialized voice box and a partially ossified hyoid structure deepen that roar until it booms like thunder pressing on the earth. Built for bursts, not marathons, the lion trades distance for decisive impact. Daylight bakes, lions chill. They rest in shade for long hours, then switch on at dusk, dawn, and night. Hunting is choreography. Lionesses fan out, using wind and terrain, creeping low until the last meters collapse into chaos. Zebras, wildebeest, and antelope headline the menu. Warthogs and even giraffes make surprise guest appearances. On a good evening, a feint draws the herd's focus, a flanker cuts the lane, and one lion hits with a wrestler's drive, while others anchor the takedown. You can almost hear the play-by-play in those tail flicks. Success is never guaranteed. A buffalo ambush that looks perfect on paper can turn into a horned avalanche in seconds. One bad angle, and the pride scatters, nursing bruises and humility. Between hunts, there's maintenance, scent marking with musky certainty, roaring at dawn like rolling thunder, and listening to the savannah's gossip carried on the wind. In lean times, cubs whimper under acacias, and the lionesses head back out, again and again, because hunger doesn't do rain checks. This is monarchy by committee. A pride is a circle of related females, their cubs, and a coalition of males holding the territory. Lionesses are the engine, cooperative hunters, vigilant mothers, and strict teachers. Cubs learn by pouncing on patience, mock hunts, clumsy charges, the first lessons in stealth and timing. Females sometimes synchronize births and share nursing, creating a nursery with multiple bodyguards. The males? Bodyguards with policies. They defend borders, repel rivals, and sometimes join hunts, especially for buffalo, where muscle matters. Takeovers are brutal truths. New coalitions oust old kings, and cubs may be lost. But in stability, the pride hums. Head rubs seal bonds, social grooming calms nerves, and low grunts, chuffs, and tail signals keep everyone reading the same script. Leadership here isn't a title. It's vigilance, coordination, and the willingness to stand in the dust when the line wavers. As apex predators, lions rewrite herbivore behavior, keeping grazer numbers and movements in check and shaping where grasslands rest and recover. Their leftovers feed hyenas, jackals, vultures, and a dozen small opportunists, the dinner bell for the cleanup crew. Competition with hyenas sharpens strategy and stamina, a nightly chess match written in tracks and echoing laughs. Conservation-wise, the picture is mixed. Lions are officially vulnerable, with numbers pressured by habitat loss, conflict with livestock owners, snares, and dwindling wild prey. Corridors, community conservancies, and smart conflict mitigation keep this voice in the night from going quiet. No crown, no ceremony, just presence that hushes the plain. The lion is a reminder that real power is cooperative, disciplined, and earned at sunrise after another long, hungry night. It embodies the spirit of a kingdom where survival is a team sport. Hear it? The plains start humming before your eyes catch up. Dust hanging low, sunlight knifing through, the ground itself twitching under 1,000 careful hooves. From the Serengeti's vast flats to the Masai Mara's shallow valleys, herds chase a rumor of rain, drawing living lines across cracked earth and acacia shade. In this shifting equation, one duel resets the balance again and again: leopard versus antelope. Not a sprinter's spectacle, but a quiet war of angles, shadows, spacing, and a heartbeat's worth of courage. Here, dry riverbeds tremble without water, grass bows, and when fate snaps shut, beetles, birds, and roots finish the chapter the cat begins. Tell us in the comments where you're watching from, and which side your instincts back tonight. The savannah never stays still. Step into the thorn scrub with us. A spotted ghost has already chosen its line.